Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one's entitled Planet X is Here, the Stolen Truth. Now, as I have detailed in Article 788 entitled Planet X Terrifies the Leadership of Planet Earth, the leadership have done all they could possibly do to hide Planet X from the Earth's population, and the fact that its effect on the Earth started at the time of the flood, a few thousand years ago. And you may look at Article 784 entitled The Earth Before the Flood Cataclysm, before Planet X. They have filled humanity's knowledge base with lies and illogical explanations, which in the end amount to indoctrination and make the understanding of Planet X and how the universe really works extremely difficult, because in almost all cases the universe operates in the opposite way to which people have been taught. An example is that planets are created from within by a core which got ejected from a parent star, so that stars give birth to planets, whilst the accepted explanation by mainstream physics is that matter collapses inwards under gravity in order for stars and planets to form, which is the opposite. Mainstream astrophysics believes there is a black hole at the center of every galaxy. But according to Planet X observations, there are white holes, core systems that create matter at the center of every galaxy, as well as every star and every planet. And you may look at Article 785 entitled Planet X is Here, but what is it exactly? And here's a galaxy. Mainstream physics, as I said, says there is a black hole at the center. But Planet X observations reveal there is a white hole at its center, a core system that creates matter, creating all and has created all the matter that is now part of this galaxy, that makes up the galaxy. And here is Dr. Robert Harrington, who was killed because there was no way to get him to forget what he discovered, and he had been out to find Planet X. And he was 51, and he died of an extremely fast-growing cancer that had not been there a few months before during his physical. In other words, he was killed. But you may wonder, after I have explained the logical disconnects in the official explanations and showed how the Planet X observations tell us something else, how is it possible that no scientist has discovered it? How is it possible that clouds are actually volcanic gases and no one seems to know that? How is it possible that no one seems to understand that wind always follows a circular path and that requires the existence of a central force and thus a source of gravity? This is so fundamental to physics that it is indeed astounding that no one has figured this out yet. However, the leadership of this planet has an advantage, a secret weapon, so to speak. They have the ability to manipulate the human mind. They have the ability to confuse the human thought process and make people forget crucial details, especially when they do not have full understanding and haven't written things down, which then causes the logical thought process that would lead to the correct conclusion to fall apart. This is why people sometimes start out understanding something and suddenly they go back to the old way of seeing things. The beginning of an understanding did not take firm root and it was stolen from their minds. And here you can see some of the Planet X system stellar cores. You can see this is a solid object there inside its cloud envelope. They create these gases. That's why they're enveloped in these gases. These clouds are volcanic gases created by these cores. And inside the body of the Earth, there are cores as well that create the same gases. That's why gases come out when there's a volcanic eruption. They are exactly the same thing. And you can see this one's cloud envelope. It looks like a break in the clouds, but it's actually a solid surface. You can see that it's curved downwards towards the surface of the Earth. This is the bottom of one of these objects in the atmosphere, and it's emitting blue light from its surface. And this one is in the shape of a flattened sphere or a disk. And you can see that its cloud envelope takes on the shape of the object. It has to be disc-shaped. Now, the reason for this is that the true leader of this planet and he is called the Prince of the Power of the Air, is able to input thoughts inside the minds of people and thus manipulate their thoughts and lives. This is how he has been able to build all the cities around the world, which contain hidden occult symbols. The people building them had no idea that they were being manipulated through their thoughts. Now, people who develop a proper understanding in a certain area, such as in the case of Halton Arp, who falsified the Big Bang model through his astronomical observations, the leadership was not able to remove the understanding from his mind. In cases like that, other incentives are then used, such as his work not getting published and him not getting time on telescopes. In other words, professional persecution. Many centuries ago, the threat of being burnt at the stake for believing the truth about the Earth orbiting the Sun was the incentive. For many astronomers nowadays, it is the thought that so many of their colleagues have been murdered for trying to discuss the truth. And there are several others that saw clearly and were killed, such as Dr. Robert Harrington and Dr. Eugene Schumacher. And here's Dr. Eugene Schumacher. He was a planetary scientist, and he died in a car accident on an empty and deserted road in Australia, and that's under very suspicious circumstances. And here's an image of Jupiter in ultraviolet light, and after the impact by the comet Schumacher-Levy 9, of course, that was his name, he was a planetary scientist, so he knew what it meant when these blemishes stayed on Jupiter for months. It meant that Jupiter had a solid surface right underneath the gaseous layer, and that therefore Jupiter was a very large, very dense planet. And that didn't add up with all the other things that was known about the planet. It was supposed to be made of gas, but it wasn't. So there was something very strange there, and he could see it. That's why he was killed. And you may look at Article 621 entitled Gas Giant Vindication, why Dr. Eugene Schumacher was really killed. So this was actually part of one of the core systems, a central core system for one of the destroyed stars that came into the solar system thousands of years ago. But what is all this evidence of? It is evidence that the Bible is true. The Bible talks about the enemy of mankind and God as being the prince of the power of the air and calls him the father of lies. And we find that that is exactly what the world is like. It is a world based on lies. So in conclusion, Planet X has been here for thousands of years, and it is also here in increasing numbers, which is leading to the second cataclysmic event after the flood. But the leadership of this planet has been stealing the truth from the minds of human beings for thousands of years. And these are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.